Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Nina Ribena's Art Journal Prompts and More. It's August and I know that some of you have already cottoned on to the fact that we are doing something different for the month of August. Now let me be honest and share why. I am nearly always away for about a month during the summer period, and there's always a huge amount of pressure to prepare videos in advance, and so I decided that I was either going to take a break for a few weeks, or we would have to do something that was quick and fun and easy, didn't take too much preparation time, and so that's what I've decided to do. So we're going to be doing watercolour for the whole of the month of August. Now I'm no expert with watercolour at all. I'm a complete beginner, apart from using watercolours in mixed media backgrounds and playing with them. You know, that is the extent of my knowledge, but it's something that I've wanted to explore for quite some time, so I thought we could do it together. So the videos over the month of August are not tutorials, they're just, you know, me sharing my experience. Hopefully we can all learn together along the way. I know that some of you in the Facebook group are used to using watercolours and are more experienced, so you know, you guys hopefully can share your knowledge with us and give us some guidance and some tips. But for me, this is exploring and playing and getting used to my materials. So I don't want anybody going into a panic here thinking that you've got to race out and buy expensive supplies. Use whatever you have. In terms of brushes, I've got a few options here. These are just, you know, brushes that I've got in my stash. I've got a water brush here. I don't even know what brand this is. So if you've got a water brush, that's absolutely perfect. I've got a round watercolour paintbrush here that's quite old. This is a number 8. I've also got this cheap brush here that I picked up from IKEA that you've seen me use before. And I've also got this paintbrush that I picked up in the Chinese store when I was in London last year with Alex. This was £1, a couple of pounds max. I have seen Jay Lee, YouTuber Jay Lee, who many of you I know will be familiar with, use paintbrushes like this on his channel. And so when I was in London in the Chinese quarter last year, I popped into one of the Chinese stores and I picked this up, and so I think I used this in today's project. So you know, that's it in terms of brushes. As far as paper is concerned, a mixed media paper pad is absolutely ideal. You've seen me use the De La Rowney in lots of my mixed media projects. You know, this is suitable for watercolour. If you've got watercolour paper, you know, even better, because this is even thicker. I've got a couple of options here. I've got the Winsor & Newton Cotman that I picked up from my scrap store for £3.95. This was a bargain because the quality of this is absolutely beautiful. I've also got a cheaper one here that I picked up from TK Maxx. This is slightly thinner. So mixed media paper, watercolour paper, cotton rag paper, use whatever you have. Now in terms of watercolours themselves, I've got 2 sets here. I've got the Artist Loft watercolour palette that is really inexpensive. I got this from Hobbycraft because Linda Cooper Pierce had bought me the metallic set and I just loved it so much that I bought the regular set. This is £5 for 36 colours in Hobbycraft here in the UK. I do believe they sell it in Hobby Lobby in the US as well. I don't know about other countries, but to be honest, if you've got kids or grandkids, they will most likely have watercolours that they have to use for school projects. Borrow theirs, you know, use whatever you have. You can pick them up from the pound shop. It really doesn't matter. We're just experimenting during this month. Today I will be using my more expensive Gansai Tambi set. I got this 4 or 5 years ago, and some of you might remember me using this when I was in Spain. 4 years ago. It was this time during 2016 where I did some watercolour galaxies using isopropyl alcohol. I'll leave the link to this video in the description box below because this is a really easy method of what we're going to be practicing today. The prompt today is to do some kind of galaxy, and my video today is not a tutorial. This is just me experimenting and playing. There are loads and loads of videos on YouTube YouTube. You'll also see loads of ideas if you Google Watercolour Galaxy. Also look for ideas on Pinterest. Lots and lots of different ways of doing this using, inexpensive supplies. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let me talk you through my video. I start off by drawing a circle on my piece of watercolour paper. I'm using Strathmore watercolour paper here, which is nice and thick, and you can see that I'm now adding some water inside the circle. Not too much, you don't want to flood your page, but you just want enough water so that the paints will flow. I'm using Gansai Tambi watercolours today, which are more opaque than your regular watercolours. These were all the rage about 3 or 4 years ago. They're beautiful. And just look at that red spread where I applied the water. So I'm applying my brightest colours in the middle of my galaxy. So a couple of different shades of red here, just seeing how they spread, just trying to get some nice effects. And then I just start introducing more colours. So as I say, the brighter colours in the centre of the page, and then I just build up the layers on the outside as well. So you'll see me start to introduce some blues in a moment, and I think the important thing with this is to not go overboard and to stop when you're happy with the look that you've got. Now, there really is no right or wrong way to do this, and it should be just a really relaxing exercise as well. Just trying different colours, adding the blue to the red here just to see how that looks, which, of course, turns into a nice purple shade. You can see that I'm using a really light touch as well, not using too much water, or trying not to anyway, because I don't want to flood my page. If you do find that you do add too much water to your paintbrush, then just have a paper towel at the ready just so that you can mop the liquid up. I introduced a couple of different shades of blue just so that I've got some variance going over the reds as well. I've got a bit too much red on this page for my liking at the moment. Now you can see I'm starting to get a bit too much liquid in my galaxy, and you'll see in a moment that I do mop up some of that excess paint with a paper towel, which of course lightens things, but that's absolutely okay because I can just add more layers later. Now this is all experimenting to me because apart from using watercolours as a background in a mixed media piece, I've got very little experience. So, I'm trying different colours, different techniques, also trying out different paintbrushes as well to see how they work. So of course you can see I've reached for a smaller paintbrush to add some purple. I know I always say this, but choose your colours wisely. I'm choosing colours next to each other on the colour wheel. If you don't, you will end up with a horrible muddy mess, so do be careful. Now, I don't want anyone to see this as a tutorial. It's not. I'm just sharing my experience as I learn throughout this month. As I say, watercolour is something that I'm not experienced in, something that I've wanted to try and develop my skills in for a long time, and just one of those things that I just keep putting off. So I just thought this month would, give us all an opportunity to try and get familiar with this lovely product. Now I've got too much liquid on my galaxy again, so I'm just trying to take some of the excess off with my paintbrush. Then I reach in for those blues again. I want to try and darken my galaxy around the edges. So I just keep working on it until I'm happy with what I've got. I just love how it's starting to look. And as I said earlier, this should just be a relaxing process where you just build up your layers on the page. Be careful to go in with a light touch because, you know, watercolour paper can pill. So you don't want to overwork it. Now, the one thing I am noticing is that it's quite difficult to judge the amount of liquid you need to use on your paintbrush. You want enough so that your paint's spread, and not so much that you end up flooding it. And you can see here that I keep adding too much liquid. I'm doing it again here and having to take it off with my paintbrush. But this is a learning curve and an experience where we can all learn together. You'll find lots of galaxy videos on YouTube and also lots of ideas on Pinterest as well. So do go and check out a few other videos as well. Watch as many as you can because each one will give you different ideas because everybody seems to have a different way of doing it. So I'm just going to let you watch the rest of my process now and I'll catch up with you at the end. So I'm really happy with the way that my galaxy looks now. So I've given it a good dry. It's had a mixture of natural drying time and with my heat tool. And I'm just adding some splatters with some watered down white paint. I use a fine paintbrush initially and then just add a few more larger ones with my stylus. So here's my finished galaxy. I'm really happy with that. I think the colours are just absolutely beautiful. I just love the way that the watercolours sort of, blend and mix together. Just really, really nice details. I just love that. That was really relaxing to do as well. So as I've said, do go and have a look on Pinterest. Check out other YouTube videos as well, because, there's lots of ways of doing this. There's no right or wrong way of doing this either. Lots of different people use different colours as well. I'll also leave the link, as I've said before, to the video where I created these using the Gansai Tambi with isopropyl alcohol, because this just spread really naturally and it looked more like a galaxy when it was in a much larger sheet as well. So I'll leave the link to this particular video in the description box below for you. But have fun. And of course, if you've enjoyed my video today, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. So take care everyone, and I'll be back next week with another watercolour project. Bye for now.